injuries at the moment or during your athletic career. Such a caring way to approach your business too, right? Like
started out as, high school athlete and then found my way into multiple different doctor's offices.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the fourth episode of the Brady Haye Mortgage Team podcast. Thank you so much for joining me. My name is Brady Haye. I'm your host. I'm pleased to be joined today with my good friend Kyler Case with Mvmnt Chiropractic. Kyler, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Brady. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely, man. No, I was obviously told you a little bit about the podcast off camera and kind of gave you some background, but for anybody that's a first-time listener, really just a recap on what we're looking to accomplish today is just to kind of share your story, share what you've been through, how you got to where you're at today, kind of what your vision is moving forward, frankly, and just goal to give you a platform to share your experiences and why people should come and see you. So
I appreciate it.
Super excited about the opportunity. Kyler, I guess for the viewers, give them some background. Who are you? What do you do? And what's your story?
Perfect. So my name is Kyler Case. I am a rehab chiropractor based in Des Moines, Iowa. So basically story started out as, high school athlete and then found my way into multiple different doctor's offices, et cetera, surgeries, all the things. Wound up in a chiropractor's office, physical therapy's office. And then went to college, went to Grandview, played football there, explored another kind of gamut of injuries. So 2 ACL reconstructions, clavicle.
You've been through the ringer then.
Yeah, had some stuff happen. But it all kind of led me to a point and evolved into where I'm at now. Okay.
So at that point, just out of curiosity, going through your injuries at the moment or during your athletic career, did you have a vision that was kind of something you already wanted to assist with? So you kind of knew in the back of your head or?
Yeah. Okay. So essentially growing up, I always wanted to be in the healthcare field in some capacity, whether it was, nursing is initially what I went to Grandview for. Okay. Wanted to be in the healthcare field, nursing. And then I kind of discovered that throughout my time at Grandview, I wanted to work with athletes and just active individuals. Yeah. And that morphed into wanting to go towards physical therapy. Okay. And then I actually had good experience with our team chiropractors on the football team. So we had 2 chiropractors there and they actually helped me with injuries. Yeah. And I was like, hey, this opened my eyes to, what is this type of chiropractic care? Because what I had growing up was much different. And it kind of blended chiropractic and physical therapy. And I was like, wow, this is something I wanted to do. And that kind of evolved into becoming a rehab-based chiropractor.
Right. I love it. No, and I think that's one of the more unique things that I've discovered even in my time that you've, worked with myself and just the care that you've given me. I've obviously been through, being a golfer and just some of the injuries and nuances of what that's looked like in my life. I've been through a handful of different chiropractors in my day, and everybody, like you said, kind of has a different, unique approach, right? And I think that one thing that's set you different from my own personal experience with working with you is that more physical therapy approach that you take. You're not the simple guy that just comes in, does those adjustments, and sends you on your way. 2 things that I've noticed, and I'll let you kind of elaborate more on this, but one, you take the time to actually learn more about the person and what they're going through, what they're experiencing, and what led them to feel the way they do, right? And I don't want to put words in your mouth, but I'd love to just share, frankly, my heart and why I've felt passionate about the way that you have treated me. So you take the time to understand how I got where I felt, and then also go more in depth with your recovery process was simply not just doing an adjustment, doing some muscle and tissue work, and some exercises and other recommendations after that. So touch about, what your approach has been, why that format of chiropractic makes the most sense for your personal desire and the way you want to treat your clients, and go from there.
Yeah. So as far as why I chose to practice the way I do, it's from personal experience, to be quite honest, right? I've had the rack and crack. You're in there for maybe 5 minutes. You get an adjustment, you're out the door. Sure. You feel good for a short period of time, right? And then time goes on and it's like, hey, I kind of have this issue coming back up. And it kind of it rubbed me the wrong way, right? Yeah. Growing up, it works for a lot of people. It works for some people. It's just not how I wanted to practice. Yeah. So seeing that other side of it when I was at Grandview was, hey, I'm getting this different experience and I actually get through the season. I don't feel like I need to keep coming back. It's not creating this dependency. Right. And that was super important for me because I like to help people, right, figure out what's going on and then help them help themselves. So give them the tools and resources to ultimately stay out of my office, right? And that might not make sense to a lot of people, but to me, it's I want you to do the things that you want to do, right? And it's like not feeling like you need to come in if you have this little tweak. It's like we can figure out, hey, I have this thing in my back pocket that I've done in the past. If it pops up, I can do it again and I can go do my activity. And that is kind of the mission behind it all, is like, I want to help you help yourself. And that's just, I don't know, it's something that's been fondly on my heart. It's like I decided I wanted to do that and I haven't wavered from it.
That's so good. That's such a caring way to approach your business too, right? Like at the end of the day, yes, obviously it is a business, right? So you want to generate profits. Like that is at the end of the day why anybody gets into business. But at the end of the day, if you're focused only on the money and the transactions of clients coming in to see you, like it's not going to feel authentic, right? And I think that, we can say that it's an Iowa thing, but the reality is just the way we were raised, right? We have big hearts. We care about the people that we're seeing and we want them to succeed. And the approach that you've taken, I would agree that it makes it so much more of a personal experience. And it, again, you're not trying to see them 3 times a week or even 7 days a week. I've seen chiropractors that try to do that kind of schedule. It's crazy. But, I want you to know that I value and appreciate your approach. And that's a big reason why I wanted to have you on, because I think it relates a lot to what I do and how I grow my business from the mortgage perspective too, is like, we just care, right? And we want to help people the way we can and help them navigate what they're going through. Absolutely. So
I think one of the things I stand by is just do the right thing for the right reason, right? And that takes you a lot of different places, a lot of different ups and downs, but as long as you stay true to that, I think you're in the right place.
That's so good. Okay, so Metro Movement Chiropractic is the name of the office, I guess you could say. I don't know, what do you call your
I
business?
call it a practice, but it's Metro Movement Chiropractic and Rehab.
Okay.
I guess the name kind of, I can break it
down.
How
long have you been open?
I will be closing up 3 years here. So coming November, it'll be 3 years in practice.
That's crazy. So okay, touch a little bit. Obviously, you kind of touched a little bit on your early years as an athlete. Had some injuries, been through the ringer there. Went through college after you graduated from Grandview. Then I assume there was a chiropractic school process that happened there and kind of led into that. After that took place and you were graduated and ready, there's a lot of different avenues you could have chosen to go there, whether it's starting your own, whether it's working with somebody else, working for somebody else. Talk about your journey there, how you landed on starting your own practice and kind of what that process looked like.
Yeah, absolutely. So following Grandview, went to Palmer College Chiropractic. It's 3 years and 4 months straight through. Okay. And throughout that process, the reason I bring it up is because that's where I got the foundation for like, hey, I'm really going to go open my own practice.
Got it. So you kind of knew that in your early days of college, like, hey, this is my vision. I want to own my own spot.
Correct. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, it's like I had that in the forefront, and I knew it was an opportunity and it was an option. Okay. Right when I started, I was kind of open to the idea of working for someone. There's a saying within the chiropractic profession that chiropractors eat their young. Okay. Meaning it's if you graduate from chiro school, you go work somewhere for a small bit of time, you get, paid pennies on the dollar, you get worked like a dog, and then kind of churn and burn, you end up moving out to the next office, right? It's just chiropractors eat their young. If you own the clinic, that's just the way it's been traditionally. And I didn't like that. So that really solidified my answer of like, hey, I'm gonna start my own.
Go all in.
So we're going all in. Graduated from Palmer in 2020. Okay. And the height of COVID, right? Yeah. So through that, I actually had the opportunity to rent a room from one of the chiropractors from Grandview. Okay. So I started out renting a room there, and out of his office, it was a blessing because I didn't know what else to do. I wasn't going to go find a commercial space in the middle of COVID.
With no database, no clients yet at that point. Yeah.
Zero. And super grateful for that opportunity because it gave me the place to start to build, right? And make a name for Metro Movement and start to get in the community and help people. Yeah. And it was alongside someone else that I've had a very positive experience with. So I was kind of had this mentorship and this guidance. I'd ask him questions, whereas if I was just completely on my own, I wouldn't have that ease of access, right? So I was there for just about a year. And then throughout that whole time, I was actually training at a gym and met 2 guys, and they own Seymour Health and Fitness. So Andrew Seymour and Colin Seymour. Okay. They own and operate Seymour Health and Fitness. Met them, and we got to talking. I was like, hey, I kind of wanted to start looking for a new space, and they were in the same place in their business and life. And we ended up searching for a place, and we found a beautiful space in Urbandale. So now we have a clinic and a gym attached, full-blown gym. It's awesome. Yeah. It's like if I could have dreamed it up, like going through chiropractic school, it's like I wanted a gym and a clinic together, and lo and behold, here we are.
Yeah, that's so cool. So obviously COVID was a hurdle in itself, especially for a lot of business owners. You were jumping in right at that point. Talk the business development side. How, from ground zero organically, how have you approached your business development, your growth from a networking standpoint? What's that look like for you to grow from literally scratch? How have you developed your clients? How have you done that? What's that process look like?
Yeah, absolutely. I got to give a shout out to my wife because she is a hairstylist and she's been doing it for 7-8 years now. And the reason she's super important in this is because she's had a patient or a client base, I should say, right? And for me starting out, I had her as a little plug, be like, hey, my husband's opened up this clinic. So I had some boots on the ground that, hey, my name was thrown in the hat. They ended up giving me a shot, and then word of mouth spreads. So super grateful for her and kind of her network and clientele that she's built up. And then also from my experience at Grandview. So I've made a lot of connections when I was at Grandview. And being in Des Moines, the college was in Des Moines.
A lot of those people stayed local still.
A lot of those people stayed local. Connections with professors, different people I've interacted with throughout Grandview. And just kind of like, honestly, the main thing was social media, but I would reach out to some people on social media and just like, hey, let them know I'm open, right? Nonetheless, just like, let them know. And then from there it was, hey, one person gave me a try. They told a couple friends. And then we kind of grew, but it's just been word of mouth. So.
And how cool is that? I mean, if you're talking from a business perspective, how else would you want to grow, right? And I think the caveat that is kind of twofold. One is obviously, yes, you'd still need to execute. So like when you get that referral and somebody says, hey, go check out Kyler's new practice, obviously you need to do your job when you get there, right? Like if you don't execute for them when they show up and you do a nice job, they're probably not going to come back. You're not going to get those referrals. But obviously you've earned that and it's worked. But that, I think this actually goes back to the last episode too, that I had with Rich, and it's all about that art of referring and how to organically build your database with the common trust from your sphere of influence and the people you've interacted with on how to send out your name and build your business organically. And that's, for me, that's the way I want to grow. I want to make sure that people know I'm a resource, and I would assume that you would want the same. And yeah, it's just been sweet to see you kind of take off amidst that COVID that you had and then that we were all facing for that matter. And then, yeah, just build it the way you're proud of. So that's been really cool to see. Talk on, I've got a couple different avenues I want to go here. Let's start with the concept of chiropractic care. Talk to the average viewer. What's the importance of chiropractic? What are some things you focus on? Why you believe that it's something somebody should consider or, give a shot?
Yeah, absolutely. So in the general sense, if I were to ask you, what do you think of when you hear the word chiropractic? What would you say?
Oh, man.
Prior to meeting me.
I would say for me personally, in my experience, I would say pain relief, right? So when I'm in pain, I want to go have somebody fix it is really what that's my view from my perspective.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's most people's perspective, right? It's like we have this issue and we want to go get some relief for it. And when I look at the importance of chiropractic care, I look at it just as anything else, right? If we have chiropractic, we have physical therapy, we have medication, surgeries, injections, personal training, all of these things, they all encompass one thing, and the thing that's common is health, right? So we want to feel better. And when we look at the importance of it, it's more so I look at it from the lens of, can it improve your life outside of my four walls?
Sure.
Like, if that can do the thing, if that's the thing that you need, right, to go pick up your grandchild or play with your kids, get on the ground, ride your bike, go for a run, right, then I think 100% it's one of the most important things you can do. But it's not the only thing, right? It's a combination of all these different approaches and different professions that can give you your life back. So from that standpoint, it's important because it can help you do the things you want to do. I don't put a nugget on it as far as, hey, it's the best thing in the world. Yeah, there's importance to it, but just as anything else, I think you can get value from mostly anything. You just find the one thing and work with the person who works for you and works the best with you to achieve that outcome.
That's so good. I think the one thing I kind of keep going back to my personal experiences with you, but one thing that's differentiated you from other chiropractors I've been to is you obviously, like I said earlier, you start with determining the root of how the person got there, but then also instead of just adjusting and sending them on their way, you actually, like for me anyways, you gave me tips and tricks on like things that I can do at home to prevent it from happening again, which I think is super unique. Prime example for everybody listening, I had a shoulder issue, and Kyler probably can give a better explanation into what my actual issue was than I can, but I was feeling some pain in my shoulder when I was golfing a lot, and my initial instinct, being lack of education and just frankly naive to what actually causes pain, I just assumed it was some sort of a rotator cuff or a muscle issue, whatever it may be. And Kyler actually took the time to diagnose what my issue actually was, and I'll maybe have him touch on what the actual issue was, but we found out that it was more related to my posture and my shoulder blades. And the lack of muscle back there. Is that correct? Or you can comment on it, and I guess we don't have to share everything, but instead of just, coming in and working on the muscle that was actually sore, right? He diagnosed why that muscle's sore, and it actually was because of other things that I was doing, right? And I think that's, for me, that was like an eye-opening experience, because I'm just so used to like everybody just targeting the actual issue at hand rather than diagnosing why that issue happens. Anything you want to add to that?
Yeah, absolutely. So one of the sayings in rehab is the site of pain is often not the source of pain. Mm-hmm. So if we go rub a sore muscle, it's going to feel good for a little bit, right?
Yeah.
But it's putting a Band-Aid on a boo-boo, right? Yeah. It's like, it just makes you temporarily feel a little bit better, but it might come back down the road if we don't address the root thing. Yeah. And with your permission, right, we can kind of talk about 100%. It. So essentially going through some movement assessment of Brady, we just look at the shoulder blade, and the shoulder blade and the shoulder have to function together, and they have to do their each job individually in order to cohesively work together, right, to get the job done. And with Brady's case, the shoulder blade itself was not moving appropriately. Yeah. So issue is at the shoulder blade, pain was at the shoulder, and we work around the shoulder blade, go through some stability exercises, and as well as work on the tissues that are sore and painful, just to get some relief. But by combating the root of the issue, which is the shoulder blade, the shoulder pain can clear up, and you kind of reinforce that with movement, rehab exercises, stretches.
And for me, it was wild how fast it worked. Honestly, like in the past summers and stuff when I was golfing, I had multiple seasons where it was an all season long kind of pain. And this instance, I remember I came into you for the first time, and we diagnosed what it was, and I'm like, I had a couple of big tournaments coming up in the next, I'm going to call it 3 weeks, because I played a lot of tournaments this summer, but I thought I was shot. Like, I thought there was no way I was going to play in these tournaments, and you literally had me turned around and started to feel better within like 5 or 6 days. Now, I'm not going to say that's case by case, and obviously not everybody's going to recover that quickly, but diagnosing that issue and getting my shoulder blades to like, even for like my brain to like cognitively think of why I'm feeling the way I do, and to like get my positioning properly, or even when I'm just sitting at home, as simple as like, don't be slouching, and like making sure my back is set up the way I'm supposed to, was like so eye-opening to me. And the fact that you took the time to educate me on that, because I'm not educated in that space at all, was just awesome. So I just wanted to share my thanks for that. And just encourage people that like, if you're receiving chiropractic care, I'm not saying that your chiropractor is not doing a good job, but make sure they're looking out for things like that and finding other nuances that may be causing the root, not just simply treating your pain, but actually coming up with a long-term solution like Kyler talked about. So absolutely. That's so good. All right, let's dive a little bit more away from business side of things, or it's still kind of related, but from a personal standpoint, how would you say growing your business, starting your own business, has impacted you, your family, friends, extended others? Touch a little bit about that side of life.
Yeah. So for those of you that don't know, we have a little 18-month boy at home, and he's adorable. Yeah. Thanks, Brady. He's like the biggest blessing in the world. I will say being a father and being a husband is like priority. Yeah. It's number one in my life. And having a business to support that, I think, is the next best thing. Yeah. And I get to help people do what they want to do. But as far as navigating, personal life and business growth, personal growth, all those things, I think business teaches you a lot of lessons. Yeah. There's a lot of ups and downs with it. Starting in the beginning of COVID, right? It was 2020. I didn't know any different. Like, I didn't have a practice before COVID, so I didn't know how COVID actually impacted it. So I just kind of rolled with the punches. That's what I knew. Mm-hmm. And throughout that time, you go through, hey, is this going to work? Like, am I doing the right thing? You ask yourself all these questions, but as long as you stay true to like your reasoning, do the right thing for the right reasons, it's going to work, right? Yeah. And we've gone through the ups and downs. It'll work in your own way, right? Yeah, like, you'll make it work, whatever your definition of like working and success is. Yeah. You can make that happen. And I think seeing business grow to a point where I'm happy and I can provide for my family. Right there, that's the thing that I want. Like, and outside of that, it gives me the flexibility to be with my family because I spend more time with my son than I feel like majority of fathers do.
Right.
And I'm super grateful for that. And I just have come to realize that after talking to multiple patients, and it's like, hey, I get to see my child for 15 minutes at night before bedtime. And then I'm like going to bed early, waking up super early, going to work. Yep. And there's nothing wrong with the grind culture, but I just genuinely appreciate the flexibility I have of my business to spend with the people I love the most. So
that's so good. And I think that, you know, that's eye-opening for anybody to hear, even if you frankly don't have a family or don't have a husband or a wife like myself, like, just valuing that time is so valuable and making it a priority, and regardless of how big you get down the road. Right. So, and that's something we'll touch on here in a couple of pain points. I'm going to talk about what your vision is for the future, but, if you continue to grow this practice and you get crazy busy, still keeping that at the heart is going to be so viable throughout all of this. Cause like you said, it's the heart behind what you do, and why you do it is for your son and your wife at home, friends, family, brother, sister, mom, dad. Like I can tell from your experience that that's the heart behind why you work as hard as you do, and frankly, why you treat your clients the way you do, because I imagine that the people you interact with have a similar vision for themselves, right? And so when it comes to their care, you have a heart because you want them to be able to experience that time with their friends and family. Yeah. So
absolutely. Well, one of the other things, like majority of my patients, if I could put everyone on a list, I'd probably be friends with almost 100% of them, right? It's like I love taking the time to genuinely build relationships with people. Yep. And that happens within my four walls because we're with you for 30 to 60 minutes. And I get to hear, hey, how's home life? Yeah. How's work going? What are you doing? Like, what keeps you busy? What keeps you motivated? What drives you? And then just being a listening ear, right? It's a place that people can talk. Yep. And
I've probably taken a little too much of your time with my with my stories and turning you into a little bit of a therapist for me. But honestly, for me, it's been great to have that ear, right? Because as somebody who like doesn't seek therapy or anything like that, not that you're a licensed therapist by any means, and I want to put that clarity out there, but it's just been good to have somebody that cares and listens, all while still taking care of what you're supposed to at the same time. It's just kind of a win-win. So
get a light into both viewpoints.
Yeah, that's so cool. Any challenges? Anything you could touch on, like your first 3 years? What would you say your biggest challenge has been?
I mean, with any business, right? There's the major ups and downs, and I think the biggest challenge was how do you get people in the door? Mm-hmm. Because me personally, at the beginning, I did not like to go out to community events. I was like, I just want to like stay in my bubble. Yep. And
I'm guilty of that.
Yeah. I think that was a great thing for me to bust out of that and be forced to, because if I didn't, then I think doors were going to close.
What sorts of events did you go to, or how did you break out of that? How did you overcome not wanting to do that? Because like even for myself, I have that all the time where it's like, I just don't want to go to this event. So what sort of things did you tell yourself, or how did you get over that?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing was honestly building relationships with the people I wanted to be around, like that would host events. So for instance, going to a gym and just being part of the gym, becoming a member of that community. And then it's like, hey, the opportunity arose. We're doing this event. We'd like to have you come to a tent or a vendor, right? It's like, oh, that was such an easy transition. Mm-hmm. And I felt comfortable there because I knew people, and then more other people would come in. But it allowed me for that instance, like ramping myself up to it, I was comfortable because I had prior relationships there.
Yep. You already knew somebody else that was going to be there. You could kind of tag alongside and
you're not walking in cold.
Yeah.
And then I think that's kind of evolved to, hey, I've done some reach outs to other people and like bike races, for instance. Reach out. Yeah. Hey, can I put a tent here? Because it's something I'm passionate about. I love to stay active. That's one of my hobbies. Yep. Is like cycling. So getting involved in the communities that you enjoy, I think makes it easier to transition. So that was the biggest, I think, point of like realization. Like, hey, it doesn't have to be I go to this health fair.
Right. It's not like you're not gonna put the suit on and go to this event that has 1,000 people there. You know, nobody there. It's really kind of partnering up to go to these things, shake some hands, introduce yourself, like make it super organic. And I think that that's valuable information that I want anybody listening to learn as a business developer, as somebody who is looking to grow. If you're looking to grow your relationships, try not to do it alone, right? Like do it with people, make it a comfortable situation. I'll be honest, like and maybe people don't realize this, but I'm actually pretty introverted when it comes to especially networking events. Like it's probably my biggest hurdle, I would say, from a business standpoint, is I just frankly don't enjoy them. Just casual, genuine like conversation or like hey, how's the weather? Like that's my, like one of my biggest like fears. Not fears, but like, I just don't enjoy that. Right. And it's just, small talk is just really intimidating to me, I guess. But if you do it with other people, it's so much more natural and organic. So that's a super valuable tip for people listening, which is great. So, all right. How about anybody that might be listening right now that maybe is an aspiring chiropractor? So anybody who is listening, who is either considering it or maybe they're already studying it. What's something that you've learned in your journey, even beyond the past 3 years during school, things like that, as you've grown? What's something you could share that you think that you would encourage other people to implement?
Yeah, I think the number one biggest piece of advice that I can give any student or someone that's going to go to chiropractic school is keep your mind open, because at school, you get thrown a lot of things. Okay. There's a bunch of different classes, different avenues you can go, and I would encourage you to learn from them all and find what you like. Yeah. Because there's a saying that, like, you don't drink the Kool-Aid. Essentially, you're going to get thrown a lot of things in your first year that you might not resonate with in the third year. Sure. And if you are open enough to take it in, learn from it, but also, realize that there's other things that you're going to learn down the road that might change your perspective. And just going with that, just don't drink the Kool-Aid, just keep an open mind, absorb, learn, and then progress, find the things that you really resonate with.
Well, I think it's even valuable, like, obviously from an education standpoint, you really have to learn all aspects of how to, execute it. But then throughout that, you can realize, like, okay, that's not a passion of mine, or that's not something that I want to implement into my business, right? No different from my perspective. When we do our sales calls from a mortgage standpoint, the way that one of my colleagues runs their business and treats their clients may be a little bit different than the way that I want to handle that. Whether it's maybe I am a text messenger instead of an emailer, or, somebody maybe a phone caller instead of an emailer. Like, that's just an example, but like everybody kind of will navigate their path a little bit differently. And so by going through that school, like you mentioned, and if, the professors or whoever you're learning from at that moment shares something and like it ends up being a whole class for a whole semester and you're like, man, I just hate this. You still kind of power through it, learn it, but learn from that in a way that then that that's not maybe the way you want to implement that into your day to day.
Absolutely.
So I love that. Just selfishly, because I know this is something you focus on and it helps really with my industry as well, both from a mortgage and a real estate, but talk about your journey with content, social media standpoint, what that's looked like. How do you stay encouraged and disciplined to post on a regular basis? Have you seen some growth through that? Has that helped you at all? Kind of talk about your content journey.
Yeah. So content, it's something that I really enjoyed, and then I got more, I just say busier, right? Yeah. And it kind of fell by the wayside. And now I'm kind of like refining that like spark or passion for it. Yeah. Sure, it's like, and the main ones that I've stuck with, honestly, is Instagram. Okay. Facebook, I don't get heavy on Facebook, and I probably should. Okay. But the one that I've had the most success with is Instagram, because it gives you an insight to, hey, you can see the short form videos, you can see these posts, like what type of information are they putting out? Sure. Who are they as a person? How do they talk? How do they move? How do they interact? Yep. And I think Instagram is that platform for me, essentially. There's been a lot of conversations just started via Instagram because someone will ask questions and, you can follow up. And
do you find yourself starting those questions too, right? So like when you consume content from people, let's say in your sphere, and somebody and you see them post an active video, right? Or like, do you comment and say like, hey, here's a tip, or, like what's your approach there? Yeah.
So essentially the answer is no, but I'm getting better at it. Okay. It's something that if I see it and like, I don't know, I never want to be and this is just me selfishly internalizing, I don't want to do this thing. Yeah. I should. Like the sleazy, salesy type of thing. It's like, oh, who's this grimy guy commenting on my stuff? It's like, I want to have a relationship first.
I battle that too, for sure.
So to basically emphasize that point is like, my relationship building process on Instagram is genuine conversation, like via direct messages. Yep. If someone engages on a post or a poll, like of something I posted, right? Okay. If they engage with something I posted, they might find value in anything that I might have to offer. Yep. And it's just getting to know them and that, like, hey, thanks for engaging. Like, tell me more about what you're dealing with. Yeah. And then you just start talking. If you're not the right fit for them, great. You can navigate them to someone who is.
Well, at the end of the day, it's not like your first question or your first comment or DM is going to be like, hey, want to schedule an appointment? Yeah. Like, that's not how your approach is going to be. You really just want to add value to that person. And if they seem fit to come in and actually utilize your service, then that's great, right? Yeah. But I think for me anyways, it's what you're saying there is the point that I think is hard for me to realize is that social media can kind of be seen as a twofold thing. And it's really easy from a business owner standpoint to only see it as a platform that you have to post on. But the interactions, I think, are equally, if not more important. And that's something I struggle to discipline myself with, is like, yeah, I can, for instance, with the podcast, it's made it a lot easier for me to have short form content to post all the time. So I can post every day, right? Like, I don't really struggle with that now that I've got this platform. But it's the interactions that also are important, right? So I need to be interacting with my database and my clients and my followers to, provide additional value other than just the content that I'm posting. And that's where the more organic relationship comes from, right? Instead of just being this person that's blasting content and tips and, stretches and different examples of things that you can do to improve your day-to-day lifestyle. It's not only just posting that video and saying, all right, well, hopefully everybody gets what they need out of that. But on the other side of it is you need to be interacting, liking other people's posts, things like that. And that's something that I'm not great at, which is ironic because I'm on social media all the time. Like I think that most Americans are, is like we consume content on the daily, right?
100%.
But why are we not interacting more with our people? Especially if we see value in what they're doing. Not to be the guy that begs for likes and comments, but when you share and like and comment on our stuff as business owners, that it not only makes us feel good and keeps us motivated to keep posting, but also it's encouraging, right? And that's what I think we long for as business owners who do post content. We need that feedback because it can get dry. It's not easy to do, but we know that you deserve the value that we're posting, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So
I would absolutely agree with you.
What else content wise? Anything else you've put emphasis on? What's been your secret sauce, I guess?
Yeah, secret sauce. I think honestly I had one reel go viral, in my opinion went viral.
Sure.
And that just gave me a bunch of followers at one point. And I think secret sauce is just now realizing that it's not going to be every post, but it might be one for 100, right? You might get some engagement. But again, I think it's just posting value, providing value to people that follow you and maybe they're dealing with something. As long as your free content is equally as good as some paid content, I think you're doing the right thing.
Right.
Secret sauce, just do the work, I guess.
Right.
And I'm trying to be more
consistent with it.
efficient and consistent with that.
You can do it. I'm confident in that. And I think that, as you're posting that, it kind of adds that credibility too, right? So if you have somebody new that comes into your office, right, and they've never heard of you before, let's say they found you in the yellow pages, just out of hypotheticals. I don't even know if that's still a thing. Do they make phone books still? Doesn't really matter. Anyways, let's just say they found you on Google. That's probably a more common source, right? Maybe they just Googled chiropractor in the area and they land on Metro Movement. And they come in and they experience your service, and then they go to your Instagram and they see, wow, this guy posted a video a day for the last 365 days, and I watch every one of them, and they're value adds. How much more credible is that than somebody who has 3 posts on there and 6 followers? And, so it provides that extra layer of credibility that I think all business owners should desire and long for. Yep. And that's kind of been the heart behind why I want to do it. And also, frankly, a big reason why I started this podcast, because my goal, obviously, yes, I am a mortgage lender, right? At the end of the day, that's always going to be, at the end of the day, what drives revenue for me. But at the end of the day, I want to have a platform with this podcast to build up other business owners. And my hope is that by somebody seeing this, they can see the heart behind what you do as a chiropractor, how you treat your clients, and hopefully long to work with you. And so, even though this episode specifically from a chiropractic standpoint is not going to provide any mortgage value for my clients, I still think it's super valuable to pour into you. And that's all I long for. I just want to pour into my people. And so, that's the heart behind everything we're doing. So,
yeah, I think to that point, right, it's yes, you're a mortgage lender, but you're just a human being, right? And I think at the base of all this, it's humans helping humans.
Yep.
And whether that's through loans, if that's through chiropractic care, if that's through valuable tips on Instagram, right? As long as you're providing value to other people, you're doing something meaningful to you, I think that's the end game, right? If you do that, you have purpose. Mm-hmm. And I think
plus it just makes me feel good, right? Not to dog on my industry, but sometimes just writing loans isn't that exciting. Exactly. It's not like my heart gets full by closing loans. I mean, it does but the reason I love my job is because of the people I get to interact with,
yes.
Right? If there wasn't that human nature and frankly, some background, I worked in an industry or in a for a company prior where originating mortgages was not personable, right? It was very transactional. It was just close deals, move on. And I just couldn't stand the way that I had to operate, And so that's why I work where I'm at, is because I get to build that organic connection with my clients and help them navigate this what would be rather complex journey of home ownership, especially right now, just in the nature of what we're dealing with and so I want to make it smooth, simple, and build rapport with people. And that's kind of the heart behind it. So,
Perfect, Brady.
All right, let's talk future plans. So obviously 3 years in, still, getting going, getting built up, I imagine, but also like gaining a lot of steam, and you're probably, and I don't want to put words in your mouth, but probably pretty content with where you're at right now. Talk to me about what your vision is for future plans, where you'd like to see things go, or is it more just maintaining, just kind of share your heart behind where you'd like to see things grow to.
Yeah. So I battle this question all the time.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm content with where I'm at because I'm able to provide for my family, and that's baseline. I think ultimately my vision has always been to grow.
Okay.
And what that looks like is hopefully someday hiring another chiropractor, or physical therapist.
Okay.
And just growing a team to continue to provide value and help other people.
Yep.
From there, maybe remove myself partially from the business.
Okay.
To explore other things, or just maybe start a podcast, right?
Yeah.
Do something different.
Sure.
Where it's not completely time devoted to in the practice, but I can work on the practice. I can go network. I can go meet different people, work at referral events, whatever that looks like.
Yep.
So ultimately, I think it'd be growing a team.
Okay.
To provide a little bit more time that I can get outside of the four walls, because right now it's just me, right? I don't even have a front desk.
Yeah.
So I'm doing everything.
You have a desk, just nobody.
I have a front desk. No one's there.
That's awesome.
So I think that it'd be like getting some time back outside of the office, working on the business, not in the business.
I love it. I know it's a shot in the dark, but and it has to be the right person too, but talk through, like, if you were to paint the picture with your own brush, I just made that up, I don't know if that's real or not, but if you were to align the stars perfectly, how soon do you think that you'd be willing to pull that trigger and make that jump to hiring the next person?
I have a business coach, and he has been pushing me to at least make the first hire, even an admin.
Okay.
So the first hire might happen soon.
Okay. But that's more of a support hand is probably what you're dealing with?
I think as far as a provider, I would love to hire within the next 18 months to 24 months. Yeah.
The only reason I asked is because I want to put a subtle plug out there. I don't know if any chiropractors are going to be listening, but if they are, and some of the heart behind what Kyler shared resonates with you, by all means, either comment below, shoot me a DM, shoot him a DM, let him know. Would love to at least set up coffee, right? Like, I think as organic as it can be, it doesn't have to be, and I think that it's kind of funny, back when you're in school and stuff, at least in business school anyways, they taught us a lot about the interview process and the informal, like, have a notebook and a suit jacket and everything, and like how different that is, I feel like, than in today's business world, at least in our industries. Like, we want to be just this casual approach, right? And we want to be casual people who align with the right fits. And so I can't imagine that, if it's the right fit, or if he opens up an application process, that it's going to be very formal by the book by any means. So, if you guys have interest, or if anybody is interested in getting into the chiropractic industry, feel free to comment below, shoot Kyler a DM. I almost just called you Tyler, but, anyway, yeah, I think that the more I can help you, and if I can hear, somebody hears this and either they know somebody or they themselves are interested in getting in the industry, I'd love to help you, kind of find that next person. Yeah. So,
and to that point, Brady, anyone out there that is considering chiropractic school, in chiropractic school, etc., shoot me a message, because I'm happy to have a conversation at any point in time. Yeah. Share my experiences.
Yeah. Right. Even if they're not going to work with you, right? Like, it's more just to be a resource.
And then, that can organically grow into a potential employer opportunity. So
that's so good. I love it. No, I think that's, a majority of the content I wanted to cover, I guess, from your perspective coming into this. I know you kind of came in blind, but is there anything else you would like to share from a viewer standpoint, or, how to contact you, anything like that? Anything else you'd like to share and touch on before we kind of wrap things up?
Yeah. I would say one thing is, if you've experienced a certain chiropractor or physical therapist, whatever it is, right? Yeah. If you've been somewhere and haven't had success, just know that that's not all professionals, right? It just might not be the one for you. Okay. I say that because I've had a ton of experience with patients that have tried the gamut of things, and they still end up in my office, and we all of a sudden get success. Not to say I am the person for you, of course, but it could be someone else down the road. Just don't give up hope, I think, is basically what I'm trying to say.
Yep.
That's just, to end that point is, like, if you're in pain, you don't have to be in pain. There's someone out there, there's some resource for you to help you get your life back. As far as places you can find me, social media, it's Instagram. So in particular, Dr.Kyler_Mvmnt.
Okay.
Find me there, follow me, like, whatever, do whatever you're gonna do there.
I'll be sure to share that in the description too, so everybody can find that easily.
Yeah,
I'll tag you guys in it, and all the the podcast will be posted on YouTube and Spotify, and you'll be able to watch this full episode there. But if you are seeing us on one of these clips or whatever, I'll be sure to tag Kyler's socials in that as well. Just encourage you guys to at least reach out. Just be a resource is really all he's looking to do. And then, hopefully we can help each other grow, help each other build a better life. I know that Kyler's made that impact on me, both from a chiropractic standpoint and just a friend. So just know that I appreciate you and everything you're doing to this community and pouring into it. And I'm going to leave you with this one last question that I ask all of my guests. I don't know if are you ready for this one? Do you know what I'm asking you? You know where this question's going?
Let's hear it.
Best chicken wings. Where's the best chicken wing restaurant you've ever been to?
Oh gosh, my default. This is so bad.
Stop. You're gonna say somewhere cheesy.
Yeah, I am. Just because it's the only thing I could think
Okay.
of. They're not even chicken wings, but
Wait, what?
Jethro's.
Oh, you're talking boneless?
So I'm thinking boneless.
Okay,
I'm a
but that's
boneless
not a
guy.
chicken wing.
A chicken wing. You told me your favorite place before. I haven't tried it out.
Okay.
For whatever reason, the only one I can think of is Jethro's.
Hey, that's all right. I mean, they do have wings there. So I guess if you're a barbecue fan, give Jethro's a try. Those of you that know me know that I'm not an advocate for smoked chicken wings. But, hey, everybody's entitled to their own opinions. So, no, Kyler, thanks for joining me today. Appreciate you having me or coming on, I should say. And, just appreciate the impact you're making on the community. Keep doing you. And, thanks for being an awesome human.
Thanks, Brady.
We'll tune in next time. See you guys.